What's up, guys? Today I want to talk to you guys about what to look for when looking to buy a used car. Now, I got this question from a buddy of mine from back in high school and decided to make an episode out of it. He inspired it, so thank you. I believe this is going to be very valuable information to a lot of people. A lot of people are scared of buying used cars because they don't know what to look for, and then all of a sudden they end up with a hunk of junk. And let me tell you that when you buy a used car, you're always taking a risk. It's just the truth of it. Even I, who am pretty good at looking over cars, have ended up with a bag of Skittles. To put it nicely, right? It's impossible to find everything that's wrong with the car right there and then. It really is. Sometimes you won't even notice a problem on a car until you've been driving it for a week, because it's something that you pick up, right? And that's for even someone like me, who I automatically start diagnosing a car the moment I get in it. It's just second nature from working on the field. You're so used to jumping into a car and automatically get into diagnostics mode. My mind does it without even trying. Like, driving a taxi is a straight up nightmare for me, right? You hear every damn little noise. Well, anyway, let's talk about what to look for. Let's say you go on Craigslist or wherever it is that you're looking for a used car, and you find a car, make, model that you like. Now, we can talk about which models to stay away from, which ones to go for. Probably that's a whole episode all by itself. But when you go look at the car, the first thing you want to do when you go to it is touch the hood. You want to place your hand on top of the hood just to make sure that the car was not running and is not warmed up. Because if it is warmed up, chances are that the owner of the car was driving it and trying to warm it up to either hide something, or they're using the car. So if it is warm, make sure to ask them, do you use the car? And if they say, oh no, I don't use the car often or whatever, you automatically know that they're lying and that they're trying to hide something. So that's number one. Then you're gonna look over the entire car, and you're gonna look at it from as many angles as possible and make sure that all the panels on the car, from the front to the doors, everything looks straight and aligned. You might find scratches and dents. Scratches and dents aren't like any serious structural damage and can probably be repaired cheaply. And sometimes people don't mind a little scratch or dent. That's fine too. But what you don't want is structural damage. So that's what you're going to be looking for. A good way, sometimes cars were repaired and repaired correctly. So what you want to do is make sure that the paint is consistent. There's no different shades. Not one panel is darker than another. If you do see some difference, ask the owner if the car was in an accident that they know of. If they automatically start covering up, don't argue. Just know this car is shady, right? Then, of course, you want to look at all the fluid levels. You're going to pop the hood and look at all the fluids. Everything should look not brand new. You are buying a used car. But nothing should look gunky. None of the fluids should be pure black, like tar-ish. They should all have some sort of clearness or transparency to all types of fluids. Even the transmission fluid, you want it to look reddish. You don't want it to look more brown, blackish. That means there's problems there. The oil, you want it to look light brown, maybe a little bit of a caramel color. You don't want it to look milky in any way. You don't want it to look tar-like, black, or any of that. So right there and then, I would, if I see anything like that, I would probably ask if they have any records for servicing. If they have records for services, like, that's great, because then you know that the owner's aware of their car and were vigilant about getting it fixed or maintained. So I would do that next. And then, of course, if all that checks out and you're not scared to crap about this car already, then I would go ahead and ask for a test drive. when you're test driving the car, it's important that you test drive the car in an area where you could go enough speed. Don't just go around the block. Like, go to a major road and try to get up to at least 50 miles an hour. Keep an eye on the steering wheel, okay? Make sure that you let it go slightly and make sure that it doesn't pull to any side too rapidly, right? When you hit the brake pedal, you want it to be a smooth application, no shaking, nothing of that nature. And then, of course, keep the radio down. Don't even turn on the radio. There's no sense of turning it on. I know you want to get a feel for the car and see if it works, but we'll get to that. Right now, you need to worry about how the car drives. And then check for noises. You know what a brand new car sounds like. You're in a used car, it's not going to sound like a brand new car, but you don't want anything ridiculously loud. No loud roaring, no loud clinking or clanking, nothing of that nature. If there's any type of roaring or anything of that nature, that means there's a malfunction somewhere, right? Once you get done driving and testing all those things, that's when you start pretty much picking and poking at everything inside the car. You're going to start poking at windows, locks, seatbelts, checking all the lights, radio, air conditioning, making sure that not only it blows on all the settings, but it cools, right? Wipers, make sure they work. A dome light, you name it. All the little tinkers and stuff inside the car, work them out, because you don't know how many times I've seen people buy a car and then both of the rear windows don't go down because they didn't bother checking. And now, of course, once you buy the car, it's your problem, right? And you may say, oh, 2 rear windows, that's not that bad. Except a window regulator, depending on a car, can cost you anywhere from $150 to $200 each. That's not even with labor. So think about that for a second, right? Before you start the car, this is before you do the drive, any of that, you're going to turn the key on the ignition to right before you would start the car. So, turn it to the run position. Don't just start. Keep it at the run position. And I want you to look at all the bulbs on the dashboard. You should be able to see the check engine light come on, the airbag light come on, the ABS, the brake light, the oil pressure light. These are all lights that you're that should pop up. I'm gonna try to get them all and place them. Let's see, boom, right there, so that you have a good idea what they look like, right? And pretty much right there and then, you want to make sure that you see all the lights. If one of the lights do not turn on, there's a strong possibility that the bulb is either blown, or there's something wrong with the dashboard, or that it was sabotaged to hide a specific problem in the car. Now, when you're accelerating the car and you're doing all of that, you shouldn't feel any type of stumble. It should accelerate smooth, no heavy vibrations or anything of that sense. And this is any car. I don't care what type of car it is, okay? Of course, if you're buying a diesel, diesels make a little more noise, right? But the point is, you don't want that the person that's selling you a car to be trying to hide something and then it end up being your problem later on. And I've seen in the past people try to take the bulbs out of the check engine light to hide or mask a problem that the car has, right? And that's easy to see, to catch by doing a bulb check, but not many people know about this bulb check. And the bulb check is the ignition. Keep it at the run position, make sure all the lights light up. If one of the lights don't light up, then that light isn't gonna light up ever, even if there's a problem with the car. So that's a neat little trick that I like to teach people too, because that can save your ass. After that, you're going to get out of the car now that it's been warmed up by you, if it wasn't already warmed up, right? You're going to go under the car, not per se like lift up the car, but you're going to go under and take a good look inside, or not inside, at the bottom of the car, and check to see if there's any wetness. And what I mean by wetness, fluids in general. You should not see any type of dark fluid at all. The only thing that is allowed to be dripping onto the floor is water, and that's only if your air conditioning is on or was just on, okay? That's normal. That's the sweating from the evaporator and the air conditioning, so that's allowed to drip, and that's okay if you see that wetness. But you don't want to see any fluids at all, as far as oil, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, any type of oil, brake fluid, any of that. If any of that is at the bottom of the car, then it's leaking, meaning that you're gonna have to be replacing this fluid that's constantly leaking if you don't repair the oil leak. Now, oil leaks can be expensive. Some can be very cheap, but you're taking a gamble. And it's hard to know unless you have a certified mechanic there diagnosing the car for you, and that's going to cost you money to get done. It's just that simple. So if you see any type of wetness and everything else on the car checks out, then it's probably a good idea to get a mechanic there, you know, and be like, hey, look, I just want to see if this oil leak is a serious thing, something that I could probably fix simply, or if it's something that's going to be a headache. And while they're at it, they can really give you like that second opinion on the car, right? If you don't have a mechanic or things aren't checking out the way you think they should, then don't buy it. Like, if you don't feel confident buying the car after checking all of these things and saying, damn, I have myself a pretty good car, don't buy it. It's that simple. Of course, there's obvious things that I should mention, like making sure that the car is clean, that there isn't any rust, that you know, there aren't any tears in the seats, or you know, anything crazy, that your windshield isn't cracked. Like, these are obvious things that would automatically stand out to you and be like, you know. But if the car is dirty and they didn't even bother to clean it, it doesn't mean that the car is bad. It just means that the previous owners were pigs. But if they're not even willing to clean their cars, chances are they didn't really take care of their car. You understand? Especially if they're about to sell the car. You know, like, it's just, you have to think about the thought process behind selling a car and you're not even going to clean it, you know? So that says a lot about the owner and whether they took care of the car or not, right? So these are all little subtle things you can look for. It doesn't matter the type of car you're going to buy. So long as it has 4 wheels and has an internal combustion engine, these are the things you're going to look for. On a hybrid, buying a used hybrid or electric car, that's way riskier, and there's other things you have to check, but that's for another video for another time. I really hope this video helps you guys understand and inspect cars that you plan on buying. And if you have any other questions, brand related, about shopping for used cars, or anything car related at all, please email me or put them on the comments below, right? And you can email me at educatedgreasemonkey@gmail.com. And as always, you can find me on any social media platform at Carlos M. Deodo, Snapchat, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram. You can find me there as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you like the video, boom, and share it, man. Don't be so greedy. Sheesh. All right, guys. Till next time. Deuce. What's up, guys? Carlos M. Deodo here, and this is your opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Okay, I can help you guys with your car stuff. I'm very good at what I do. I've been doing it for a long time, and my brain is yours. Pick at it. So if you haven't subscribed, get to it.